What's happening, sports fans? Welcome back to actual football season for the first time in a while. Christian Pedersen, Colton Tull, this is San Diego Prep Insider. This is your Division 5 CIF San Diego section football high school preview for the season. Colton and I are going to break down some of the interesting races, some of the teams to watch, some of the players to watch, some of the stories that you need to know. Obviously, football is fluid and football changes and teams come and go through success and injury, yada, yada, yada. So none of this is set in stone. None of this is like crazy major predictions. This is just, let's actually talk about how we think this Division 5 season might, could, or should play out. Colton, Division 5 to me jumps off with a couple of teams that we've already had in studio: Mar Vista, Crawford, San Ysidro, Cajon Valley, all teams that we've had in studio. So shameless plug to go check out all those episodes. But do any of those teams jump out to you as early season contenders, favorites, or who are you just watching? Let's talk about one team.
I want to talk about pure excitement. I want to go ahead and talk about Cajon Valley and Kyle Gordon, one of the best pure rushers in the county, I'd say. This is a guy that we've been watching him grow as a player every season since he's been here, and I think he's finally going to take this next step. He's going to explode for Cajon Valley. You know, they've been waiting to win. They've been developing their guys, and I think this is finally the year we see it all come together, hopefully, for them. That'd be really nice to see.
Well, Cajon Valley, certainly it seems like you said, they've got the established running game. And if they can just get something else, if that's a signature defensive look, if they can get a little bit of a passing game, if they can get a couple of good interceptions, like that team, to me, just so long as they aren't overly, like if they have to be the 12-1 game or something like that in the Division 5 playoffs, they might be out of luck. But if they can tread water, if they can get into the playoffs in like a home seed or somewhere in that 8-9 middle of the grounds, I think this is a very dangerous Cajon Valley team this year. Crawford, you mentioned them amongst your teams that you were talking about. Hamadi Sharif established at 100+ yards a game last year. Guy can produce. Seems like they've also got some guys on the defense. Hassani Battle, Vincent James, both very talented, big players. They've won CIF championships in other sports, so it's not like they don't know mentally what it takes. Seems like physically they have what it takes. Is this Crawford versus the field this year, or where do you see them? Are they the favorites, or are they one of the favorites? What do you like about the Colts?
Oh, they definitely got to be up there. You know, they have a really interesting schedule. They open up the season against Mar Vista, so that's a great in-division game we're going to see right off the bat. They play an amazing offense week 2 against Country Day. So I think that's going to give us a really good idea of what their defensive identity is, because Country Day is one of the most prolific offenses every year. They have numbers like crazy. So seeing what they can do against an offense like that, that's going to give us a great understanding of what their defense really brings to the table. They play San Ysidro later in the year. They play Coronado. They have a really tough schedule, but they also have a lot of winnable games. But then there's games that are going to show us what kind of team they are. But I think at the end of the day, you got to think that Division 5 will at some point go through Crawford.
You talk about them opening up against Mar Vista. That's another team that I'm definitely looking at this year. Alex Wojcik and the underclassmen, if you will. He's going to be bringing along some new kids this year, new head coach this year, potentially new, sense of purpose for this Mar Vista team. I think they like the concept of being road warrior underdogs. They seem to take everything that comes their way in certainly a good kind of stride. Colton, you know about those kinds of seasons where you have to be out and about as a road warrior. I think that there's certainly, it seems like if I had to pick one of these teams with the biggest chip on their shoulder in this division, it would be the Mar Vista Mariners. And so I'm all in on seeing, like you said, that first game from Crawford and Mar Vista, it splits off. They go their separate ways. Well, I think we'll always come back to that first game as a prism of how we see the rest of this season. San Ysidro was another team that you mentioned. We had them in studio. There's a lot of hype around them building off of their first win in school history last year. You see them potentially as a stronger performer this year. Part of what I think is always interesting about the Division 5 race every year is that there is a great story. There's history being made. It's first time in 20 years for a school, or it's first one ever for a school, or it's one where a particular senior class has had to battle through a ton of stuff. And I think that we're looking at a couple of schools in this Division 5 race that might not jump out as front runners to me, but certainly I'm looking at them to either play spoiler or wind up maybe being a little bit surprising to people. As our studio comes falling apart. It's okay, intern, you can come back in. That is Army Navy Academy.
Yes.
You certainly have highlighted how prolific their defense is. I know you have a player you want to get to there. Claremont is another one. The Chieftains, after an 0-10 season last year, 4-6 is obviously good for them. But 4-6 could also be a revenge 4-6 that gets them into that 12 seed, that plays that domino effect of teams were maybe counting on that win to get them to a certain spot in the playoffs. Same with O'Farrell. They got a huge win last year, first in program history, and they seem poised to, again, be that trap game, be that speed bump, be that spoiler. Of those three, you're probably, it seems like, most excited about Army-Navy.
Yeah, I love probably the most productive player in the division. You have great rushers, but on defense, help me with the name, Radumana Luva, insane sack numbers last year. He had, I think, close to 18 sacks, led the county in Division 5. When you have a player like that, that's going to be the most productive player in the division like this. It's gonna help Army-Navy win some games. Having maybe the best player in the division is going to put your team up. It's going to put you up in the standings, win you some games. It's going to play spoiler possibly, but definitely got to watch him. If you have a chance, watch him play. The kid is big, physical. He really is a beast.
Also on this list that we haven't gotten to is Castle Park. They are a team always to look out for. Classical Academy and Escondido Charter, 2 out of the North County, that have their moments where they come and go in terms of big wins and productive wins. Escondido Charter been getting a little bit closer, it feels like, the last couple of years. Hoover, Mountain Empire, like, there are teams certainly still to know, but this is maybe going to consist of I feel like that block right there. We discussed about 10 teams. Do you feel like there's anybody that we're maybe missing that early season people should be highlighting as, hey, look, they got an outside shot, but it's still a shot. I could see a path to which they become either champs or at least someone that's going to make a playoff run.
Not necessarily champs, but I do want to give a shout out to Southwest San Diego. They didn't have a season last year, so to come back, refix that program, get back up. It's really cool to see that they didn't fully give up on the football program. Dope that they're coming back and they're starting the football program again. So hopefully they can win a couple games. It'd be awesome for them after not playing last year. That's just really cool to see as a football fan.
That's the Division 5 season preview. He's pro Colton Tull. I'm at Mr. CPED. The show is SD Prep Insider. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll see you at scrimmages this week and games next week. Go to check them out. There's great places where you can find streaming options as well. All of the information you can find on the Scorebook Live app. Make sure you download SB Live Sports, the app, or follow them on social media at SB Live CA. You can also follow at CIF SDS for the San Diego CIF section offices and all their information. They have great websites with photos, with games, with scores, with opportunities to check out all of these amazing teams and student athletes this season. Colton, happy football season, and we'll see you guys again soon.